Hello and welcome. Today we've got Dawson, and we are going to be discussing self-defense, especially in a time where our governments are committing treason, they are tyrants, and we need to defend ourselves when there is an emergency, not just ourselves, but also our families. And we need to take back that power. Now, just before we begin, you can subscribe to our Telegram channels and to nicholasveniamin.com for my free email updates. And if you're watching this for the first time on YouTube, I will leave the link below in the description for the full interview. Dawson, thank you for joining me. And how are you? And what have you been up to?
Nick, how are you doing, buddy? You look well.
I'm good, thanks. I'm good. So tell us, what have you been up to and what's happening?
Well, I'm just glad it's coming to the end of the summer, mate. I mean, a lot of people say, no, we don't want, man, it's been so hot here. I mean, average days have been 32 degrees. So, I'm not one for complaining. I do like the sunshine, but when the sun's been turned on for like 4 months solid now, it's just, I need a bit of coolness. I'm sick of sweating. But what's been going on? We've been really busy, mate, really busy with setting up a state-of-the-art self-defense course. And obviously, Dave Vickers is just his magic with his editing and his camera. And so we decided to look at all the self-defense courses online. And I went to a few different ones. And I've been in this game for like 30 years now, Nick. So I know my way around a little bit. So we started looking on some of the online courses. And to be honest, a lot of them, how can I say this? I'm not being disrespectful to the other guys, but it was like a lot of Jackie Chan stuff, a lot of flowery stuff that, when you see all these Krav Magas and all these other arts, when you see them doing all this fancy stuff, you have to be a pretty good practitioner to actually deliver these kind of moves, right? Now, so you'd have to train for a serious length of time to be able to practice this. So what I looked at, I decided to break it down to the bones of it and the basics of the basics, right down to like straight punch, a left jab and a right cross, one devastating low kick from the roundhouse family, a front block, and a low kick block. And I thought, right, let's just keep them moves, and then we'll build all the course around those moves. So give you an idea, you've got it's all about repetition as well. So, when you do train in the gym or you do something 500 times, your body gets what they call muscle memory. Mm-hmm. And then you start to progress, right? So it's the same with punches and kicking. Your body will get a muscle memory. Now, if you throw punches like 500 times, some people might think, well, that's a lot. It's not a lot. If you look at any boxing match, they throw like 300-400 punches per round, right? So it's not a lot. And even if you're just doing this and you just do it for like 2 minutes, you can probably do 100, 150. Might get a little bit out of breath, but it's not a lot. The same with the kicks. So when you start doing these kicks in the hundreds and then the thousands over time, you start to get a pretty good idea how it feels and how to throw a punch and how a kick should feel when you throw it. So we basically broke it right down to right back to basics with repetition, taking that repetition once you've done the line work. Have you ever done line work, Nick?
Sorry?
Have you ever done line work?
No, I haven't. What is line work?
Line work is like, it's one of the basics of certain Japanese martial arts like karate. And I've got a 3rd degree black belt in the Mugendo system, which is like a modern day karate, which came out in 1970 or 1971 by a guy called Sensei Suzuki. And to the eye, it looks like, it was called freestyle karate back then, but to the eye, it looks like kickboxing, right? Very similar because it's not static. Now, line work is great because line work basically, if you have a room and you have a mirror on the wall or a large aerobic studio or classroom or even a backyard, you're basically going to go 1, 2, and then you're going to throw your round kick, and then your leg is going to step forward. Then you're going to be in the opposite position. So then you do the opposite arm, and then you do the opposite leg, and then you take a step forward. This is called line work, and then you go all the way down. You're trying to keep yourself in line without falling over and keeping your balance and basically getting the technical and the coaching points of these moves. And as you go down, you go back, you go down, you go back. Obviously, you get faster, you get stronger, you get better, and your balance becomes excellent. So then you go from that one to going on to pad work. So you take, now you know how to do the punches and kicks. Now we put them on the pads so you know how it feels to hit an object or kick an object. And then from then we take it into technical sparring, right? So which starts getting interesting. You've got gloves on, your opponent's got gloves on, and you start to learn how to do basic sparring techniques. And then you go back onto the pads and you go into full power on the pads, which is start the coaching part. So the whole process we've put in 35 videos, total 35 videos and all these different categories. How to make you a finely tuned instrument of war with just basics, complete basics.
Right. I love that. I love that because we can do that at home, and we can practice, and it's great. So what ages would you recommend these courses for?
Well, I used to do a lot of children's classes here in Marbella for the last 20 years. And obviously because of the lockdowns and stuff, I had to close my school. Plus, when I opened my school again, what do they want me to do? Put masks on the children to train. Now, I train hard, Nick, and I push my students hard, right? Especially the children. So anybody who knows anything about health and safety or has a degree of common sense, if you go in the gym and you start training, the muscle expands, more blood goes into the muscle, which requires oxygen to sustain this pump, right? And what are they doing? Covering up the respiratory system. So it's insane, mate. So I had an argument with the gym man. I said, listen, mate, self and safety, I ain't doing that. So I had to close the school. So now I'm doing just about everything online. So the good thing about it, if you are in a lockdown, the gyms are not open, you can't do this at home. This is what I want to bring it to, because a lot of people ain't comfortable going to gyms and a lot of people ain't comfortable going to dojos. So they'd rather learn it at home. And this is great because it's like a video game, Matt, and you're in the video game with me. And it's so simple, step-by-step instructions. Like a lot of people don't even tell you when you're standing, how you stand is so important. You know, if you're standing, you know, like just like a normal person waiting for a bus, and you're going to have the same position in a fight, you're going to get run over, you're going to get steamrolled, right? So basically, getting yourself in an offensive stance, with your chin down, your elbows in, your hands ready. You're already starting to look as if you can dish out professional violence, right? So to the other person, when he sees you take up an offensive stance, he's going to think, "Wait a minute, this guy knows something. Maybe I should just leave this." You know, because most people, when they get into these situations, it's from somebody with a mouthpiece. And normally mouthpieces can't fight. It's the quiet ones you've always got to watch out, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So would you say that Hollywood has, like you said earlier, movies have fluffed it up? Do you think that Hollywood has commercialized, these self-defense exercises?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Bruce Lee was the one that got me motivated, but he was doing UFC stuff 25 years before it happened, and he could fight. He wasn't just an actor, he was a real fighter. And you have a lot of these Hollywood stars that are just Hollywood stars and not real fighters, but you also have a few that can fight. Now, when you see a lot of these movies and they're flying across the air with these flying kicks, they're the most simplest kicks that you just step out of the way, because they take so long to get in the end and fly across. You just move, you have lateral movement. So a lot of these, what you call fancy kicks, they are beautiful kicks. Don't get me wrong, they are beautiful kicks. It's very difficult to land that in a fight situation. Spinning hook kicks, the spinning present kicks, the spinning back kicks, and the jump spinning back kicks, they're probably the only ones you can really get away with, but you would have to disguise them in a combination. So if I was going to fight you, Nick, and you were the same level as me, and I just threw a spinning kick, you'd see it coming a mile away, and you just move your head back, or you just move out of the way, because it would be just so obvious for you. So when you're having a fight with somebody, it's like a chess match. So I would have to set you up, right? And maybe I would have to receive something from you to get one of mine in. So maybe I receive 2 from you, you receive 4 from me. It's like this chess match. So
there's a formula.
Yeah, it's a formula. So you have to set traps when you fight someone who's as good as you. And that's what's beautiful about sparring, because you're laughing as well when you're really enjoying it, because it's like some kind of dance, but you're in it with all these beautiful technical points. And getting back to you, sorry, man, I didn't even answer the question. I started kids off at 6 years old. I think anything before 6, and it has to be a big 6, and you've always got to bet kids. I thought when I was teaching kids, anything before 6, I wasn't a teacher, I was a babysitter. You know what I mean? Mm. Because they're just looking up and they're looking at the ceiling and they're not what's going on in the room. So it's better after 6 for that one.
Right. Yeah, and you're somebody who believes that we shouldn't just rely on our patriotic leaders, but we should also take that action, stand up and fight for our freedoms and defend ourselves. And this is why you're doing the self-defense thing as well. And people should take that power back, because our military and police force, they're very trained. They know about self-defense. But we, the people, they don't even train us this at school. Okay. And this is a fantastic thing. And I think we need to take that power back, not just on paper, but also physically.
You're damn right, Nick. And another thing as well, if you look at all Oriental schools, they have this in the school curriculum from a young age. You taught martial arts. And when you taught martial arts from a young age, it disciplines you to basically, when you have any kind of issue or some problem with someone, you can deal with it so much more easily and calmly than when you haven't had this discipline. You know, and this is when probably stupid fights break out, whereas most of the time I could talk somebody down and walk them out without a fight. I did a lot of security work like that. But in this day and age now, Nick, it's like too many people are relying on saviors, and this is where we get in this problem in the first place, because we're thinking, oh no, we'll be all right. He's going to save it. We're going to be all right. They're going to do that for us. And it just hasn't been what they said it was going to be. It's this date, that date. It's just gone on and on. And we got to the point now, if you look at Canada or Australia, they're having it really rough. I mean, I saw a video, I don't know whether you saw a video, someone sent me from Newcastle the other day, and they're getting really rough with them. I mean, pepper spraying everybody. But the thing is, I used to train the police, and I've trained with the military as well. So the police have a set amount of techniques they can use. So if you're getting trained by a police, there's a lot of things you're not allowed to teach them, right? Where if you go to the military, it's completely different, because they're showing you how to use knives and all kinds of stuff, and all the artery and the weak points of the arms and the legs to take someone out really, really quick. The police can't do that, obviously. You've got to put someone in custody, right? Not kill them.
Yeah.
So they're right. They're quite basic with their techniques. And if you see a lot of arrests happen, it normally takes about 4 of them to get one person, sometimes even more. So when you've got a guy who knows what he's doing, you probably take about 10 of them, mate, to get it.
Wow, absolutely. I want to let the viewers know that I'm going to be showing a very small clip of Lee Dawson's performance, what he's doing, and I'll put this at the end of this interview. Lee, how can the viewers find this course and get involved?
Well, I'll give you some links at the end. First of all, I want to give you 10 free top tips, so you can download that. And the tips are like, it's not so much you have to be a martial artist to understand these tips. It's like, so you go out with your girlfriend, you've gone to a cinema or a restaurant. The first thing I always do, and I tell everybody to do this, when you go in, look for the exits. Walk around, check where all the exits are, because if there's ever a fire or there's ever a problem, a big fight or a shooting, you know where to go to get the safety. Same as in a restaurant. Things like when you're walking down the street on a night, one side's dark, one side's lit up, walk down the lit side. So it's common sense self-defense techniques, you know, and always have yourself like traffic lights, you have red, amber, green. Always have yourself in a state of amber when you're out. Don't look at the floor. Look at your surroundings where you are. Always look, make sure you've got eye contact with everybody. Just certain things like that. When you go into a room, take control of the room, but not being arrogantly taking control of it. You know, walking in, take control of it. When you walk in there, you want to be a presence.
Absolutely.
You know? And there's ways you train yourself to do that. Most of the time, when you've got a strong discipline inside you, it comes very, very natural in the end. You know how to converse with a lot of people, especially different people. A friend of mine said to me one day when I was training, he said, you know what I admire about you? And I said, what's that? I was waiting to take this. He said, you train Saudi Arabian princesses, you train Dolph Lundgren from Hollywood, and you can sit with a scumbag like me.
Very humble of him.
There's a lot of naughty boys over here, Nick. So, you know, I trained a lot of the naughty boys, all different walks of life I've trained. So it's, and they're all interesting people. It doesn't matter if they've got money, if they haven't got money, if they're a criminal, like a serious criminal, or you know, it doesn't matter. Everybody deserves a chance. Everybody's in this life to make something of it or not.
Absolutely. And not only that, not only is for our safety, for self-defense, not only because of what we're going through in this crisis, but also is healthy. We're keeping fit.
Well, that's a good thing about it, because if you go into, say, a gymnasium, a lot of people don't like to go into the gymnasium and do weights, right? Now, if you look at all the machines, they're set in a certain way, right, to either isolate that muscle. But what the problem is, when you're doing functional movements or exercise or workout, I'll give you an example like like ballet or some dance class or a martial arts class, even aerobics class. This is functional movement. So your legs and your arms are going where they should be. When you sat strapped into a gym chair, your body's in this position where it's stuck. So a lot of muscles tend to get neglected from full rotation, and especially the hip flexor muscle. Now, the hip flexor muscle is a tiny little muscle which is attached to your quad onto your hip, which basically makes you walk upstairs and kick your legs out. So if you think how small that muscle is, how big your legs are the biggest muscles on the body, right? And this tiny little muscle never gets worked in the gym. Very few gyms actually have hip flexor machines. Mainly the girls go on them anyway. But when you start doing kicks, it's your hip flexor. It's all your body moving at the same time. And the thing is, when you train in the gym and you're doing weights and that kind of stuff, your body will burn fat for maybe an hour afterwards, and you'll sweat for an hour afterwards. When you do this kind of movement, you're doing martial arts and this kind of anaerobic work, it burns fat for 2, sometimes even 3 days after you're finished. It's very, very high intensity. But you can start off nice and soft and you build it up. And it's when you see boxers and they're doing I know about a boxing gym in England, funny enough, and when he brings all these hard boys down, he puts them in a circle and he makes them do nursery rhymes with a movement. And he basically breaks them all the way down, and then you've got to start and walk again. Then you got to jog, and then you got to run. So if you start just flicking out kicks really fast, there's never anything in them because you're not. So imagine this is my leg, and this is my knee. I lift my knee up, right? And I go to extend from the knee down like this. A lot of people can't hold the leg out like that. What will happen is they'll go to about there, or they'll throw it and it goes down. So there's a lot of exercises, special drills to strengthen your legs, your glutes, every part of your body. So when you lift your knee up, you keep your knee up, you kick out, you bring the leg back, and then you drop the knee. And that's how you do a perfect kick. And that gives you power in your legs, a lot of power. And you don't see a lot of people doing high kicks anymore. I mean, I don't say do high kicks on the street or mid-range kicks. They're no good for that. But you need to basically do the full spectrum when you're working out. And the good thing about this is it's enjoyable. It's not boring. Some gyms and some exercises get a little bit repetitive. I like to go spinning sometimes, but then if you ain't got a good instructor and they're not highly motivated and the music's not too good, then the class can be really flat,
Absolutely. I think it's very beneficial for anyone around the world who wants to learn self-defense, to be more healthy, especially at a time now where the government wants to come in, vaccinate our children, and we have no say and we have no free will. But, especially here in the UK where we don't have the Second Amendment, we need to have something. And this is a fantastic course and it's a great thing. I'm going to leave the link below. And to the viewers, I want you to see that the short video to see what Lee Dawson is actually up to and what he's teaching. But Lee Dawson, thank you very, very much for your time. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish?
Always remember this. Your human body has 9 weapons, all right? 2 feet, 2 knees, 2 hands, 2 elbows, and a head, and 10 if you're a gigolo.
Well, Lee, thank you very much. And I'll speak to you very soon. All the best.
Thanks a lot, Nick.
Are you prepared for potential violence as we move through this time of unprecedented change? What would you do if they tried to force you to do things against your will? Are you confident you can protect your family physically? The great pandemic has been a challenging time for many patriots. It's pushed many of us to our limits, especially being surrounded by woke sheeple in masks and the world around us in complete disarray.
Come on, mate. Come on, let's have it.
We've been surrounded by misinformation, fake news, secret military ops, and a fake president to boot. Many of us have been prepping food and water supplies to stand our ground in the name of freedom. But are you prepared for physical violence? I'm a martial arts expert, personal trainer, and digital warrior, and I decided to do something about this problem. I've created a simple but devastatingly effective online course for all patriots to help them prepare for this potential nightmare scenario. And it's not from a place of fear, but it's from a place of common sense. Would you like to learn some quick and easy techniques that could save you from a forced jab or even worse? Would you like to have the confidence to stand up to people that's physically threatening you in the streets? You see? Would you sleep better knowing you have the tools at your disposal to deal with anyone threatening your family? I know I do. I'm Lee Dawson. Some of you will know me from Digital Warrior Productions, where I present a regular Patriot channel with my friend and fellow warrior, David Mahoney. 500 million people. My life started as a working class kid in Northern England in 1970s. One day my dad came home with a VHS videotape of Bruce Lee, We're the Dragon, where there was an amazing scene with the nunchucks. I was straight outside. I got my mom's broomstick, sawed it in half, made some nunchucks and gave myself concussion. My dad looked at me, rolled his eyes and said, listen son, if you're going to do this bollocks, you're going to do it properly. When I was 14 years old, I got knocked out by an 18-year-old boy over a girl. I got a bloody nose and a bus slip and I walked home with my tail between my legs. I learned fast that you had to be able to defend yourself in this life. So I soon found myself enrolling in the Mugendo system in London, developed by Sensei Suzuki. It was very different to the usual static karate. And in competition, it was called freestyle karate, which pretty much looks like kickboxing in today's arena. This led me to reaching a third-degree black belt in the Mugendo system, invited into the Black Belt Hall of Fame twice, being headhunted by Fitness First PLC to teach my unique Thai Fit system, which led to me teaching 38,000 people every week, teaching self-defense to members of the Saudi Arabian royal family, and training Dolph Lundgren on the set of Expendables, awarded International Thai Fit, awarded Master of Combat, awarded Master Instructor and International Instructor, and training contestants for the TV Gladiator show, the originals. Since 1990, I have helped train hundreds of thousands of people in fitness and self-defense around the world. Now I want to share all that experience and knowledge with you, my fellow patriots, in this unprecedented time of war. Here's what you'll discover. My Patriot Self-Defense course for beginners is 1. Easy to follow. 2. Completely foolproof, chin down. Anyone can do this. 3. Fun. Manage your own stress levels like a pro and work every muscle in your body. 1. 2. Improve your mental health, improve your flexibility, massively boost your confidence. Start burning fat for many hours after each session and improve your speed, power, and balance. So what exactly are you going to get? Instant access to a members area containing 35 unique videos taking you through step-by-step instructions. Bonus video training from my long career to inspire and train you further. And my Iron Fist guarantee. I know you're going to absolutely love training with me, or I'll send back every penny you paid within 30 days of joining. No questions asked, no nonsense. Hunting season is open. Welcome to Lee Dawson's Patriot Self-Defense for Beginners.